Good evening. Surprise again. I have another guest that will be joining us tonight for our May No More Excuses challenge. And this challenge is all about if you feel like the Lord has given you an idea, or it's an idea that you believe is worth trying or pursuing, and it honors God, it's something crazy, then these interviews are meant to help you hear from different people who do different things, and you get to hear how they got started from what the idea they had, or if God gave it to them, and how they actually implemented it. And then hopefully it encourages you to know that you can do it as well, So that's really my hope for this. So you can stop giving yourself excuses. Sorry, our guest just joined. I'm trying to get him in here. Let's see.
Yeah.
There we go.
How you doing?
I am good. My voice is struggling a little bit, but I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You maintaining? You making it happen?
Listen, that's the proof right there. So as I was saying, my goal for these interviews is for you to be able to see people who have an idea or something they feel like God has given them, and they're trying just like how you probably want to, but are nervous to actually do yourself. And so hopefully by hearing their stories, it encourages you to do whatever that thing is, because you don't know who it could help, who it could impact in a godly way, in a positive way. And that's my hope, is that we can begin to impact our family and other families through what we do. So yeah, that's it. So let's get started. Our guest tonight is DJ Eugene G-Clef Braxton, who was born in Willingboro. Did I say that right?
You did.
In Willingboro, New Jersey, raised in Jacksonville, Florida, Duval,
See it?
and made to get you on the right note in Orlando, Florida. Growing up, you could find Eugene with a pair of headphones on, listening to all types of music on his Walkman or CD player. Evidence of his love and appreciation for music can be traced to his young days air drumming in church, beating on the desk at school or at the dinner table at home, running the sound at church, podcasting before podcasting was cool, working in radio, and now DJing. He has been a DJ for over 10 years, recently taking the step to become licensed and insured, forming his company, The Right Entertainment, in December 2022. The Right Entertainment serves all types of events like weddings, birthday parties, church events, family reunions, and much more. They play clean music only, featuring the best in old school, hip hop, gospel, and Christian hip hop. Okay, so hopefully you have a good idea of who our guest is tonight. I'm so excited to have him, and let's get into these questions.
Let's get it.
And welcome to everyone who has joined. Thank you guys for joining us. So, you already told us where are you from, so never mind. We'll skip over that one. The reason why I like to ask that question, as I've said in other interviews, is because depending on what you are creating, you can feel as if where people come from in my neighborhood or my city or my state don't do this. They don't do that. So I can't try. And that's not true. So I just want to make sure that you know where everybody's from. Everyone is from somewhere different. And that's okay, because no matter where you come from, that's not your ending point. That's your beginning point.
Right.
Okay. So how long have you been, well, you already told us, for 10 years. So I guess a better question would be, what got you into what you do now?
Truth be told, I didn't even want to do this DJing.
Okay.
So like for me, I always had a dream of radio, and
Okay.
it's kind of one of those things that when I was a kid, a friend of mine had some CDJs or something like that, and so I picked up on it real good, real easy, and I always listen to mix shows when I'm listening to my Walkman and whatnot. But I just never thought I felt like, okay, I'm going to school, so I'm not going to school to spin records. I'm going to school to get an education, going to radio and stuff like that. And so I just ran from this for so long. Like I can't tell you how long, but I always had an appreciation for it. And
Okay.
so what got me into it was like taking it for real was I was at a youth camp and a friend of mine had this shout out to my boy Mel. He had virtual DJ on his laptop. And so he's like, man, Eugene, I think you would know how to do this. Can you try this real quick? I was like, yeah, I got on it, started playing around, threw a couple tracks on there, and like all the kids just started dancing and stuff. And I was just like, well, let me just, keep on entertaining them. It is what it is. And so long story short, just kept doing it, kept doing it. He gave me my first controller. He gave me the program, and I did my first wedding probably like a year or so later. And that wedding came about because it was a lady who went to my church, and I ran audio, I ran sound at my church, and she was like, Eugene, you're the only person I trust to do this and get it done. And so I was like, I mean, yeah, I'll do it. And you go to my church, so it's no problem. Let's get it. And so I did it, and I was like, okay, our kids were on to something. And then like, it's always been my prayer that the one opportunity opens the next, opens the next. And so it just kept going. Then I looked up, I didn't realize it was 10 years till like last year. I was like, well, I've been doing it for this long. And so that's kind of what got me into it for real, for real. I'm just starting to learn my craft, be better, incorporate it with my radio show, the podcast I was talking about. So just kept trying to make it grow from there. So.
Oh my. Okay, so if you are wanting to explain why is radio your preferred way of doing audio or music or talking?
Because radio, my love for radio came because it's it's never ending for me. There's always like that's how the records are broken in. That's how songs are dropped. That's how you're in your car. So even though Spotify and all these other streaming services are there, like I don't think radio's going anywhere. And so me growing up in the 80s and 90s, well mainly in the 90s, growing up. That's all I knew. And so it was the Time Joyner Morning Show. And then I know I saw some people from Jacksonville, and I know you from Duval as well. So 92.7, the Beat Jam, represent hip hop and R&B flavor. So that's what we grew up on. And so I still like Gene.com, Easy E, Chill Will, all these like famous, like, I felt like there was always like my friend, my homeboys, the homegirls I was on the radio. And so that's how I appreciated like the local personalities, even like on the national shows. And so I just wanted to be a part of that. So the way I looked at it, it was Tom Joyner. And I was like, one day he's going to retire. So let me get up Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley, Eugene Braxton. And so that's what I thought. And then my voice dropped early as a kid. And so, but everyone would be like, oh, you have such a good voice. You have a nice voice. You should be on radio. I did TV production in high school. And so I just kind of just followed that and was like, well, let me see what my voice could do in radio. There was adversity there, but eventually I got to radio doing my thing. So it just was always a love. I love music. And so I feel like I just wanted to have like that personality aspect with people on radio.
Nice. Okay. So you got to tell us about podcasting before podcasting was cool. What's that about? And do you still have it?
So I got you. So I went to UCFD, University of Central Florida. So go Knights, shout out to the Knights. So I went there, and while I was on campus, I did this show called The Best of Both Worlds. And that was with Nightcast. The thing with Nightcast, I enjoyed it. However, SGA wasn't trying to fund where my ideas were going, and so I stopped it. And so after some research, I was like, okay, how can I do radio without going to like a local station? Because I didn't have any connections at the time. And so I went ahead and basically I started podcasting, but I never wanted to call my show a podcast. I always called it a radio show. It was called In My House Radio. And so that was with me and my homeboy LB, who was my initial host. And then we just created this new show. And so, yeah, we released it. I think Liberated Syndication was like the platform that we used to, record it and put it online so people could hear. So that was like 2009 was when I did my show. And then these last probably 4 or 5 years when everybody and their mama started podcasting, so which I respect that. But I felt like before it was really, really, really known, there was a few people out there then. That's why I say I was podcasting before podcasting became cool. So, because back then I would say, yeah, I'm a podcaster. People like, what's that? I do radio. It's
Yeah.
easier to explain. You know.
Cool. I love it. Okay. So how are you impacting your clients or even your audience that follows you now by what you do through DJing?
Yeah, so for me, with doing DJing, I only play clean music. And so I feel like with that, whenever I do events where my kids could be at and stuff, I always say if I can't play it in front of my kids, then I can't play it. And so I think just taking that stand on playing all clean music and I feel like you can have fun without, the degrading and stuff like that. Also, the shows that I've done, I featured a lot of the Christian hip hop, and so back then the genre was kind of just growing, and
Yeah.
so I felt like I was just doing my part to um, help the genre along. That was like the booming years here in Orlando of Christian hip hop, and so I felt like I was I guess I have to be self-proclaimed at this point, one of the earlier pioneers in Orlando. There's others who was helping out as well, but I feel like I was one of those then and still am. And so I think helping to get people, pushing people toward the music and like showing them that there's some good, dope music out there that you can listen to and not be ashamed to listen to. So that's kind of like how I try to do a lot of the stuff, especially with Christian hip hop. It's like, this is stuff that you could line right up against your famous or popular artist that's still on the radio right now.
Yeah.
But it's talking about some grounded stuff, Jesus and the Lord and church and faith and even the struggles that we have as Christians. So, but it's done over some nice, good production quality beats. So.
I love it. That's so good.
Thank you.
And that's many people you hear them say like, I just love the beat. I just love the beat. So that's a great way for someone who does want to have, some music besides just CCM
Mm-hmm.
or just besides choir gospel music, but
Right.
you still want them to be able to play at your cookout or at your kid's birthday party, like you want something upbeat. So I
Right.
love it.
Right.
If you have one, what is your ultimate goal or big picture with where you would like to take your business?
Um, I would like to one day, business wise, I would like to have it turn into a multi-op, so having other DJs um to work and basically to help, either to train or mentor. I'm really big on mentorship and training. And I always felt like even with radio, I felt like I was the one who would have to cut through. If you imagine a forest that hasn't been tracked through yet, I always felt like I was the one at least making a path through the forest to make it easier for the people to come after me. And so, still believe that for radio and definitely for DJing. Just, for those, I feel like there's a young Eugene somewhere who, you know, maybe on the struggle of, man, there's no good music out there, or like whose parents would be like, man, don't listen to, this music because it's not that good or whatever, or they're forced to listen to gospel music every morning on the way to school, but think that, you know, but know that there's like something else pulling them, or, I want to be a DJ, but I don't want to sound like everyone, or I don't want to be in the club all night, or I don't want to, feel like I have to be someone other than myself to, have fun or to do what. So I just want to be out there and be like, no, you know what, you can be a Christian and have fun. You can be yourself and still, rock. And even like, and I play secular music too. So, but you can play it in a way that is presentable, tasteful, clean, and that people don't feel dirty behind or whatnot. And so yeah, I think that's the biggest vision, just to be able to help and mentor and teach and really just help push the genre. I see myself, or more so, I guess better, I hear myself like playing at, opening for different concerts, or like there's, big festivals in Atlanta, Georgia, and like even like Orlando at one point. I want to see Orlando get back to the place where it's kind of like a class A, or like where all like, everyone knows that's like, yo, Orlando's the spot for CHH, or
Yeah.
where I could DJ alongside of like even like famous DJs on the same bill, and just being like, you know what, we do that, but then also we can have like a CHH beat battle or something like that. Just just helping to infuse the the genre of the space, and show that what, it's not like we're not trying to create separation. It's just like, look, we here, we can have fun too. So
I love that. So just throwing this in, if you're watching this right now and you feel like, you know what, I like what he's talking about and I want to connect with him, go ahead and just drop your information real quick, and so they don't have to wait till the end.
for sure.
And I'll also just read it out loud as he's typing. 1 second. Where is it? No, it's not there.
Why you do that? Shout out to my wife, Allison. I see you.
Hey, Allison. My voice is struggling, but hey, girl. So you are at Eugene, Eugene, G-Clef, G-C-L-E-F, Braxton, Braxton. And that's for Facebook and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But then you also have your business page, which is We Are the Right Entertainment.
Right.
Okay.
Spelled just the way it sounds.
Yes. Yeah, no special spelling.
Mm-mm.
Okay, next question. So take us from having the idea, but well, you already were doing it, but you were doing it, but not official. So take us from, all right, it's time to get official. What were those first practical couple steps that you did to get started?
Good question. So, how I described the pre-age was, I was bootlegging those times, and I really just didn't know what I was doing. So a friend of mine was about to get married. But even I'm gonna put a pin right there. Even before then, like a lot of venues and stuff in Orlando, that I was, people were getting married or having events. It turned into a lot were requiring insurance and businesses that had licenses and stuff. And so I seen it coming probably about 3 or 4 years ago, where it's just harder, or like people like, yeah, do you have insurance? No, I don't. Or do you have a license? No, I don't. And I actually missed out on opportunity, one that was going to pay fairly nice. However, and it was for like a city. And so as I was going through, and I've worked for the city before, I knew, even though it hurt for me to miss out on that, that was like my wake up call. And so I still didn't know what to do. My friend's wedding is up and coming. And so I reached out to a mentor that I had, who was in this space. So shout out to Ken Battles. He was the one who, I was like, man, I don't know. You've been doing this for well over 20 plus, maybe 30 years or something like that. And so he sat down and told me, he's like, look, this is what you need to do to um, get involved. Number one was get straight with the state, pretty much. Well, that rhymes too, but get straight with the state. So I went sole proprietor, but you could do LLC, or anything like that. So that's through Sunbiz. So that's step one. Number two for me was to get with basically the licenses with the state in order to, or the cities, in order to operate as a business. And so from where I live at, I live in a municipality, so I had to get one I live in Apopka, but then also I had to get one for the city of Orlando or Orange County. So that was number two. And then number three was get insurance. And so with different research for different companies, finally got that. So once I did all those things, those practical steps. Now, on the spiritual side, this plan was all started probably around June of last year, 2022, where I just was like, this time around, I want to do this the way the Lord wants it to be done. And so for my In My House radio, that was kind of like, I think I should do this. I think I want to call it like that. This time around, I was like, okay, Lord, this is what you want me to go legit. I don't know what to do. Send me the steps. So a lot of prayer. That's how the name came about. We Are the Right Entertainment. That's how the logos that you see on the page, the Lord sent the people that way. The Lord put Ken Battles in my mind to reach out to him. And so I was like, every step along the way, I don't want to move until you say move. And it was hard because I had to turn down some opportunities in order to be like, nope. I mean, it was almost like probably like 6 months I couldn't do nothing. I was like, nope, don't do it. Nope, don't do it. And so as weird as it may be, um, the stories that kept popping in from the Bible was there's a verse in the Bible, obedience is greater sacrifice. And so with before King David got the reign, Saul messed up. And so Samuel said, look, I need you to do this. This is what the Lord says. Saul got, he started to do his thing and didn't wait on Samuel to return, or didn't fully wipe out the whole city or town, of Gene's translation. Didn't wipe out the whole town and everyone. He did everything but one part. And that one part took him out of favor of the Lord. And so I was like, ooh, I don't want to do that, or I don't want to mess up. And so as hard as it was to say, no, I can't DJ your event, or, um, wanting to cut corners and stuff like that, like I just couldn't do it. 'Cause I've done that, the Lord, I mean, luckily I've been in this for, 10 years and stuff like that, but I feel like I just couldn't do that moving forward. And I just wanted to do everything in decent and in order. And so when I got all the way to my friend's wedding, even like him, because I've been knowing him since I was in college. So even like telling him some of the story and sharing it with my wife, like I was like, man, it feels good to do it right. Like not cut corners, not do, not do like stuff that's like um, out or like the quick and easy route. Like I'll tell a quick story, Brittany.
Yeah.
I was at one point during this journey, I used to be, and I'm telling myself, but I used to rip music. So everybody knows what's up with ripping music. And so I was always finding ways. I was like my thing. Like I used to be able to get on YouTube, MySpace, or whatever. I'm aging myself, but it is what it is. So, and like find music. And so I was, and it was so bad to the point that people be like, oh, where'd you get this song? I'm like, oh, it's exclusive. So, only your boy got it. And so, I was at a wedding. My wife and I attended a wedding. And so I happened to sit at a table with another DJ and somebody who knows sound. And sound guys, like we know, like Allison will tell you, like I'll walk in a room and like immediately analyze the sound. Like I'll find the speakers and be like, sound like this, sound like that. So the DJ was there and I was like, man, it's just not hitting the way it should hit. And then and this was an old school cat. Like he was probably old enough to be like either a good uncle or like my dad's age. And so he was like, nah, it sounds like trash pretty much. And I was like, ooh, that's harsh. And then like right then the Lord was like, yeah, he's ripping music and so are you. And so do you want people to hear this at your events? And I was like, oh, I need to stop. Because literally when you ripping stuff from YouTube or whatever, like the dynamics of the song, it gets cut out, and so it doesn't sound good over good speakers. And so, in a real sound guy, or even somebody who really understands music, will be able to tell that. And so I was like, dang, that's kind of messed up. And I also knew that it was wrong because um, even when people would ask me, Eugene, where do you get the song? I didn't want to tell them because I was like, well, I didn't want to tell people to steal. And so, which is actually is what it was. And so, yeah, the Lord convicted me real bad for that. And then really just showed me that me ripping music or stealing from these artists is taken from their, plate. And people are like, oh, yeah, it's only like 99 cents or a dollar, but that can make a difference, especially for um, in a genre that's up and growing. Yeah, they're not at Lil Wayne, Beyonce, Jay-Z, status, but at the end of the day, you're still taking from them. And so it's like, yeah, so when the Lord got me, so basically just doing stuff in order was really what the Lord, like how he's working on me through those 10 years to get to now to be like, nah, I'm not going to, rip music and I'm going to do it right, no shortcuts, which is why the right entertainment, the right way. So.
I like that. That's so good. And that is That is that could be a whole topic in itself. Like, you have something, you want to do it, and you can do it, but is it being done right?
Mm-hmm.
And that part about representing the Lord, like in everything that you do, but well, I represent you, but I'm also gonna do this. Like, it's really easy. There's
Right.
many things, like people do it on social media all the time. They take people's quotes, they take people's content,
Mm-hmm.
crop out their names. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about Christian content people.
Yeah.
Other people do it too. So yeah, that is commendable, and it's hard. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It is, and that's not to discredit, like, you know, I mean, I don't like fake it till you make it, but that's not to discredit like the beginning days. So
Right. Yeah,
because do
yeah.
not despise small
Yeah.
beginnings. So for me, even with the gear that I had, and I remember I was always looking. I think you're asking, this may come up at later in the question, but even like the equipment, like it's okay to not have what you see the person who you strive to be have. Just appreciate and learn at the level that you're at. And so that's one thing I just had to really teach myself. Like, granted, I'm not, and I'll name my fan, I'm not Jazzy Jeff. My name's Eugene Braxton. And so there's no need for me to try to, because Jazzy Jeff was made to do whatever he needs to do. I was created to do what I need to do. And so, like, and then really how the Lord really told me was, the Lord doesn't honor, he's not going to honor the sin that caused you to get somewhere. So he's not going to honor stealing to get you something. He'll provide all that. Or he's not going to honor, like, you taking someone else's credit, or you doing this, you doing that. Like, what I've known, seen in this season, and even during the 10 years of me bootlegging, like, he literally provided every step along. Like, when I needed some speakers, man, I ain't got what I need for this event. Somehow it came. Or somebody be like, okay, you use my stuff whenever. Or like, he just put people in place to help out, to realize that, okay, no, I have to lean and depend on him versus trying to do it, on my own. So
Absolutely. Yes, I agree. So yes, if it came off that way, that's not what I meant.
no, you
Definitely.
good. No, I'll just add it to your point.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I had a friend message me because I have a podcast, and she's like, the song that you use, somebody else uses that. They don't use it anymore, but it's a really large, they have a really large fan base. And she was saying, they use that song. Were you trying to like do that? And I said, no, but it's free because music is copyrighted. And there's a song I want to use so bad, but I've contacted this group and I can't find them. Well, I've contacted who I think they are, but I guess they stopped making music. I don't know. So I can't find them, and I've tried. So I just use the free music that I could find until I'm ready to pay for a monthly subscription to, use Epidemic Sound or something like that. So
Yeah. Good.
okay. So you've given us some tips about how you can start practically, which was really good. This is the last one, and then we have rapid fire questions, and you're done.
Okay.
So now that you've given us the practical tips, can you give advice to anyone on the encouragement side who feels like, I want to start something, but I'm scared to actually do it? What would you say to them?
Um, do it, but to be more practical than that, figure out why you want to do it. Cause I feel like you have like the thing that really is like, you can't see me, but I'm like that gut, that's down there that you just can't shake. And it's like, and like you bother like with whatever problem or issue or something that you want to do. A lot of times there's a reason that there's that burden. And so, I think it's recognizing that feeling first. Like, why can I not shake it? For me, is like, why can't I find good music that is Christian hip hop? Like I heard it. My sister gave me a T-Bone album when I was in high school, and I was like, this is not good. And it just, I mean, it was good,
Yeah.
for the spirit, but it wasn't good sonically to my ears, you know. And so this is like the 90s, and so early 90s, and so like you know, but I was like, okay, just searching, trying to find this stuff. And then like literally like when I was introduced to like Lecrae and like Reach and all that, I was like, whoa, Canton Jones, like where was this music at? This is like how I hear it. And so for me, just get back to your question, push yourself, because you have to be the cheerleader for yourself, number one. And even before that one, just pray. Like you know, if you're of faith, pray that, you know, God will show you what it is you need to do. Um, and really just, my wife wrote Write the Vision. That's big, like writing it down. Because at the end of the day, it's one thing to kind of be an idea in your head, but once you write it down, whether it be on your phone or just something like, you know, even if it's not all together, it's not going to always come that way. It's going to either be the end game and the steps aren't given to you, or the steps are given to you and you don't know what the end game is. And so just, you know, so writing it down and just, you know, acting when it's time to act. So that takes listening, that takes, you know, believing in yourself, encouraging yourself. Um, Another thing I could give as encouragement is tell people, don't tell everyone. And I think that's what I did in the past. That's a mistake I did in the past, telling everyone, because you don't have the people who are like, oh yeah, that sounds good, just because they're there, but not, they don't really fully understand, especially when it gets tough. And so, and I say that because there are things that I've told people that I had to go right back around and be like, nah, it didn't happen. And then I think that was the harder part, to be like, nah, it just didn't happen. So I realized, okay, let me tell select few people who I know are behind the scenes praying or pushing or really believing in me. And then that way, and that also, you know, when you find that good community, they'll also say, nah, that's not good. Or, no, you need to tighten up. Like I remember I meeting with, shout out to Leslie Gray. I met with him, and he gave me the real. I left the meeting. I was like, oh man, like you're stuck. Like he could call me. Well, he can't call right now, but he could call me like tomorrow, and I'll be like, oh snap, am I good to have this conversation with him? Because he's going to chop up and tell me something. But I appreciate that because he knows me enough to tell me what's what. You know, Glenn Allgood is another friend of mine, good friend and mentor. Tim Wolf is another one who I know that they're looking, and these guys are both in radio and stuff like that. Like, and I know that they, you know, are able to give me, they can speak that into my life. And so finding that community, finding those people who really speak and help you to get to where you need to be at regardless. And my aspect of encouragement is just do it. Like, just go, because you have to believe in yourself. So many people have told me like, nah, it's not good. There's no money in radio. There's no money in DJing. Like, or they just see one aspect of it. And so when you try to be different, people could tend to like water that down, as opposed to, nah, if you know what you're supposed to do, go do it and go be great. And so, and then the last one for extra credit is encourage people in what they're doing. And so, like, if you see someone, like, you reap what you sow, or what goes around comes around is what the world says. What goes around comes around. Bible says you reap what you sow. So if you're always pushing people, or like, oh, like supporting people, or like giving encouraging words, like one of my people who, you know, I used to work with, I saw join the chat. So, you know, just always encourage them or people in whatever they're doing to support, because then, you know, that takes you out, and you're not worried about what you're trying to do. You're trying to help someone else build, and then it's your time. You know, whenever it's your time, then it's your time. So, yeah, and then just go for it. Just don't miss out on that action part of like actually doing it, and realize. And this is something actually to you, Brittany. I know you didn't ask for it, but since I've known you for many years, I feel like I could say this. And so,
Okay.
um, you don't have to have the most polished picture. Like there's a picture behind me, even though it's written. You don't have to be the most polished thing, and so, and you're going to have your inadequacies, like you mentioned, your voice, your throat. I wouldn't even never notice it until you brought it up. And so, and this is only because I know you. So, like, but more so, you and everyone else, like, don't worry about being perfect, because there's only one perfect person that I know of that ever graced this world.
Yeah.
And so all we could do is just strive for perfection, and so, and that come along, like we could try to, like, and you're in the social media, podcast, video blogging space. And so a lot of people could put on the best things, but you're only seeing however big this square is, but you don't know what's going on to my left or right or whatnot. And so it's okay to not be perfect. People are going to appreciate whatever it is you do, because the people who you're going to reach, Brittany, is whoever you're supposed to reach. The people who I'm going to reach is whoever I'm supposed to reach. And it's only like, and just realizing that I just got to worry about the people who's assigned to me. So me doing what I need to do, or whatever it is that I'm supposed to do, and this at this point is DJing. So me doing that, I would not want on my hands somebody who missed out on their opportunity to do whatever because I'm not in place, or because I'm not doing however it is I'm supposed to do. And so that's kind of what keeps me going. So realizing your purpose, and you don't have to be, and I know you're not trying to be perfect, so that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Of course, what I'm saying is you don't have to be like, like you're gonna have the thing that's like, you know, somebody may look at it like, oh yeah, her voice, or my voice is too low, or my voice might not be ready, or the way he DJs is not the way I want to hear it. Okay, it's not for you. It's for it's for whoever this is for. And by me doing whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing right, then at the end, that's what I have to deal with God. So whether I did it the right way or the wrong way, that's on me. So
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. See, there it is. That's why I'm like, people be thinking, what is wrong with this girl? Her voice is jacked up. I do appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Now we have our rapid fire questions, and then we are all done.
ooh.
Okay. What is one book? I don't know if they have books for this. They probably do. But what is one book that has helped you either in business or possibly learning about DJing?
A book that I read probably not too long before I started this, was Who Moved My Cheese? And so that is a book that it's about, I'm not going to give it, it's a good book. It's a super easy read. You hear about a lot of it in business and stuff like that, but it's about, adapting to change. And so a personal model of mine is be fat, flexible, adaptable, teachable. And that's what it's talking about in the book. So it's using mice, and it's 4 different personalities and characters. I don't remember them all, so I'm not going to name it and embarrass myself. However, it shows that you're either going to have the people who are comfortable and doing the same thing every day, and that's fine. That's but what happens when where you're going, the resources run out, and it's time for you to go a different direction. And so it shows that it talks about the different emotions of like, okay, I'm scared to do something new, so what do I do? Or go out and try something different. And then, okay, even if I go out there and I fail or I miss the opportunity, how do I keep going? And so Who Moved My Cheese, even though it's a small book and it uses simple characters, that I think impact, and this is probably like the second or third time I read it. But that's what I read late last year, because there's other stuff that happened in my life that kind of was like, it's either it's forcing me to either keep doing the same thing I'm doing, or okay, let me try something different and let me just adapt. And so, and then you're able to find yourself. I think anyone who reads is able to find themselves in one of the 4 characters.
Okay, good. So who moved my keys?
Cheese. Who moved my cheese?
Okay.
Yeah.
What song are you playing on repeat right now?
You want to ask the DJ that question?
I know.
Oh man.
If you got like a top 3, that's fine.
So I'll say today. So today, I've been on this Afrobeat tip, and so this artist named Limo Blaze, he
Yes.
he be on it. So today, the songs I listen to, because he got a lot of hits. But today, he did this song called Company off his latest EP.
Okay.
So that was on repeat. He's featured on his other song called I'm gonna mark the name. It's called and I don't even know the other artist's name who's featured on it. So I guess I can't do that. So Limo Blaze. Why can't these songs come to my mind right now? A song that always sticks with me. Dion Kippin is one of my favorites. So Destiny is good that he does. For me, my wife is over here giving me names and stuff. I think she's telling me her playlist. But the song that she just said, King Jesus by KB, both versions is dope for me. And I'll even give I think that's three. I'll stop at three. I'll do that. I could go a whole other hour with music. So yeah, I'll do that.
My husband got me into Limo Blaze, however you say it. Sorry, I'm butchering his name, but we have a whole playlist of him. And so when you said that name, I'm like, yes, just Afro Christian music in general.
Mm-hmm.
I got on that. I don't know, whenever my husband started it, so maybe like a year and a half ago or something, but really a lot more recently.
Yeah.
Thanks to Instagram, because you put music to your reels, and so like that's how you find music. Because I tend to play the same set, like
Right.
I don't really venture out much. So yeah, I love it. I love it. It's good.
Yes, it is.
Prime example of wanting to have some music you can listen to while I'm like cleaning around the house or driving or whatever, and like
Mm-hmm.
good upbeat music, but I know it's good. So
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
What is a podcast that has helped you in business or maybe helping you with learning how to DJ?
Okay, so business, I would say one is I have a few. So if I may, so one
Yeah.
is Ayo Anthony O'Neill.
Yes.
He has a podcast, and he's young. He's older than me, but he's still young, and I consider myself young. So young Black professional who has a heart for just seeing people win. So he just keeps it like he used to be with Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
He's moved on from them, but now his whole ministry is just dropping tips and stuff that we just don't know. So that's one podcast. It's the AO. I think it's called AO, the AO show, something like that. So Anthony O'Neill. Number two is Pivot, the Pivot podcast. And that show was birthed out of a change that they had to make. It features, I'm going to be a little selfish right now, but one of the best Jaguars to ever do it, Fred Taylor. But then also Ryan Clark and Channing. I can't think of his last name, but these three guys, they speak to athletes and they really just interview. So that's more for like good content, and like you get to see, like I'm the type of person that I like to get to know people. And so they ask questions that I would want to ask, when I interview people. So, but that is, it's all about, okay. And I think one question they ask is, name a major pivot in your life and how that affects you, something like that. I know I got it wrong, but
Yeah.
that's the gist of the question. And so that is just to hear like how stuff you may not even know about people and how they got to where they are, or what changed, that they may have been cut from the high school team or may have had like, some, bad thing with marriage, or they didn't manage their finances right, or whatever, and how they learned. And now they're trying to help other people not do the same thing that they did. So that's another one. And a third one I'll mention is The Basement with Tim Ross. Tim Ross is a quirky, keep it real, and like just he says the stuff that needs to be said, especially as a Christian, but sometimes can be afraid to be said or approached. And so, I definitely listen to him and a show on the Christian. I mean, there's not really much DJing podcast, but something in our genre, I would say, is the 116 Life. I've been listening to that show. They haven't been doing it for a long time, but this show really gets into the nitty gritties of, not really nitty gritties, but it shows you more of the inside of the genre, CHH. It is birthed from the Reach camp, but it's good. Like they like for artists and stuff like that who's trying to break into the industry. Like there's two A&Rs that host the show, and so they drop a lot of good gems. And then not only, even if you're not a musician or like an artist, you can still walk away with practical business stuff. And they talk about like what do you like when it's time to change or move on, like what do you need to do, or how, like practical stuff. So those are my four.
Okay.
That
That's good. When was the last time you burned something? Cooking, some hair, clothing, whatever.
Burn something? I don't know. I probably say I used to burn CDs back in the day. So I know my wife just recently ministered, even though I didn't burn the track to a CD. So I guess that doesn't count. But I probably say either burn CDs or, I mean, I'm a pretty good cook. I do like grilling, so that involves live fire. I'm a charcoal person. So,
Okay.
burning either the wood or the charcoal. Obviously, you have to burn the charcoal to get it to cook. So I'll probably say that, the safe answer, grilling when I burn something.
Do you have the, oh my gosh, what are they called? Like the sandals that like you see on Instagram or stuff of a social media, like black big cooking or at the grill, and they have like these sandals or flip flops or whatever. Do you wear those while you grill?
Nah, no, I'm a cool. I feel like I'm the cool dad, or husband. When I'm on the grill. So I'm always in a pair of Converse Chucks. So I'm probably in a pair of Chucks, grilling some old Chucks or some house slippers if it's like that lax. But usually I try to wear shoes when I'm grilling because I'm outside in this fire. So probably either a pair of some old Nikes or some old Chucks.
Okay. What is one platform or application that helps you in business or your content creation to help promote your business?
For me, and this is something else that I was afraid of for so long, but I'm learning to embrace, especially nowadays, is social media. That platform in itself, like I still only have a couple social mediums. However, like realizing that just connecting and building that audience has really helped me out, and it's really pushed me out of my comfort zone to be able to actually use it, and really just because I don't like talking about myself, and so or promoting I rather promote someone else's stuff than my own stuff, only because of that. I don't like talking about myself. But one of the things that, same with one of my mentors taught me was, he's like, man, how are people going to know about you if you don't say it? And so, and how are you going to get business? And so that's where he was hitting me from. So really just, Instagram, and understanding the Facebook, the business side page is good. I still haven't got to TikTok yet. I'm kind of still up in the air with that one. But yeah, I think those, just social media in general has helped me out tremendously with what I do.
Okay, two more.
Mm-hmm.
What is one talent that you do not have, but you wish you did, and why?
That's easy. That's easy. I have to preface this with a quote. So I always say, I don't play music, but I play music. And so I want to learn how to play keyboard, the bass. I feel like I'm a drummer, as you heard in my bio, but I'm not. My brother, Donald, is the drummer of the family. However, I always wanted to learn how to play and read music because I think it's so cool. I can appreciate, especially as a sound guy, I can appreciate musicians and I respect the craft. I always wanted to play. However, the Lord gave me the ability to play, press pause, play, spin records, but not to play music. And so, yes, to play music. That's the one I wish I
Okay. And lastly, who is one content creator that constantly drops gems or advice that you have actually implemented in your business and it's been helpful?
had. I have to shout out the guys. I think I don't know that I think one of the guys' name is Jay because he always shouts them out. But Entre Believers. Um, that's if you look them up on social media. They have a clothing line, clothing brand. Um, they have a bunch of clothing brands and stuff like that. But on the Entre Believers page, I think every day they drop a gem or a nugget. And so I've taken and I've even posted on my personal pages stuff that they've said um, that and really stuff that I highlight today, like you know, don't despise the small beginnings. Like just do it. And so he would show like after, like behind the scenes of how he had like Home Depot lights to do a photo shoot, or like just use what he had. I mean, because like all you have is all you need. Mike Todd said that, so that's another person. So all you have is all you need, and so he used like Home Depot stuff or like just makeshift stuff that nobody would know until he came around and said it to produce quality work. And so that's just one gem, but they're always dropping gems. Entre Believers, ENTRE, and then Believers. So yeah, they no matter what industry, they be dropping gems.
Nice. Well, that is it. We are done. Excuse me. So thank you so much for joining us. Can you please tell everyone your social handles again and where they can find you and the services that you offer again?
Yeah. So first, before I get into that, thank you, Brittany. I'm super proud of you. I am, yeah. So everyone doesn't know like our relationship, but I've seen her grow up from our school days, and so shout out to Christian. Um, but I do appreciate the opportunity, so thank you. I do appreciate that. For me, fairly simple. So personally, my page is Eugene G-Clef Braxton, EUGENEGCLEF Braxton, BRAXTON, all one word. That's Facebook and Instagram. Um, you follow me, I'll follow back. I think that's what the youngsters say. So um, my business, The Right Entertainment. Um, so on Instagram and Facebook, it's We Are The Right Entertainment. Um, and so who we are is we're a DJing, hosting company that provides clean music. So I do weddings. I've done a baby shower in my time. I've done family reunions. I've done church youth events. I've done church picnics. I've done um, quinceañeras. I've done a lot of stuff. And so my main thing is I just I enjoy having fun. I believe that there's a way to do that clean and done, in a professional way. And so that's my passion, just to be able to serve people, and then serve them in a way that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, um, and more so that you can still walk away having fun, and all your guests enjoy it and stuff. I am a dancing DJ, and I do talk to you as well. And so just hosting and just kind of just helping your event bring the vision of your event to life. And so if you are interested in having us for your next event, shoot, you can DM me, you can email me, um, which is the right entertainment, the number 4U, YOU. And I will send you over the links to go ahead and get started and book our services.
I love it.
Oh,
So,
you, I'm sorry, at, shout out my wife, correcting me over here. My better half. So the right entertainment, the number 4u at gmail.com.
shout out to the wives.
Shout out to the wives.
um, so if someone is wanting to support you or wanting to like keep up with what you're doing, how can they do that?
Um, Follow me, I would say, on any of the social medias. That's the way I try to post as much as I can. And even for like, the events that I do that aren't private, come on out. And so I do have some things up my sleeve coming soon as far as like doing live DJ shows. I'm just working out the logistics on that. And so yeah, just support, like listen. And then if I've done stuff for you in the past, leave that recommendation, leave that comment, point people in this direction. So those would be the best ways, I think, to support me. Just, like, comment, share, spread the word. Especially like the church groups. It's okay to have some bass up in church and stuff like that, especially for the youth events and stuff like that. So, if there's going to be like a youth event, church picnic, it's okay to shake a little. It's not Sunday morning, and so yes, there's Sunday morning music. There's also Ty Tribbett here, Pastor Mike. They're doing a lot, among others, are doing a lot of Molly music. Jonathan McReynolds are doing music that doesn't sound like fully Sunday morning, but it has a nice hard hitting beat that you can get up and dance to. So there's definitely plenty of music, among others, that I have on my laptop in my repertoire that can get your members or your family or your youth group kids moving in a tasteful way.
I love it. All right. Well, that is it. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you guys for joining and watching this interview. And I hope again that you are encouraged to know that whatever idea you have, start, at least be willing to try. And the challenge for this month is no more excuses. So if you feel like now is the time or the Lord has been telling you to start something, don't give yourself any more excuses and try. Because I love what Eugene said about just start. And as he went, the Lord provided. That sucks. We don't like that, but many times that's how it happens. So just step and keep going, and you never know what can happen. So yeah, that's it.
Of course.
Bye, y'all.
Thank y'all. Have a good night.
You too.